I want to talk to you about a book, and I want to explain why most people are reading books wrong, including me, for most of my life. I used to read to finish, get to the last page, put it down, tick it off my checklist, collecting books like trophies. Yeah, I've read that one, and it kind of meant nothing because I never let the book land. Until I read East of Eden, this book landed. I don't want to do a book review or summarize the plot in any regard. I just want to give you my thoughts on why this book impacted me so much. And I also think it's relevant to anyone who's ever looked at themselves and not appreciated what they saw. There's a quote early on in this book that says, "All great and precious things are lonely." 7 words, and I probably sat with that quote for about 10 to 20 minutes. And I couldn't figure out why it impacted me so much. But if I had to guess, I think for the last year and a half, I've been kind of deeply lonely in a way that I haven't really admitted to anyone. Not socially, I have people around me, but lonely in regards to the self I wanted to be felt completely out of reach. And that gap between being who you are and who you want to be is one of the loneliest feelings in the world. I came to university to study law, and I want to be honest why. I didn't choose it because I wanted a career in law or because I thought the subject fascinated me. I chose it because I was 18 and kind of refused to be an adult. I wanted to prolong being a child a little bit longer. So I went to university. However, as soon as I got here, I got quite sick and developed chronic fatigue, and then slowly started watching my body and mind mentally slip. I went from 75 kg to about 95 kg, and for a long time I blamed the illness for that. However, being honest, I think my problems regarding my health and fitness started long before I got diagnosed. The illness kind of just allowed me to stop pretending, and for a long time I held that against myself, like genuine animosity towards my own past. The laziness, the binge eating, the degree I chose because I wasn't brave enough to face adult life. I was angry at that version of me for a really long time. Then I read East of Eden and got to the end of it. And if you read the book, you know the moment I'm talking about regarding Adam Trask, who has spent the entire novel defined by pain, by betrayal, by a son he couldn't forgive, is dying. And his last words to his son, who felt he was fundamentally bad, is a single Hebrew word, timshel, thou mayest. Not thou shalt, not thou wilt, thou mayest. That idea of choice, to be better, to rise, to overcome, belongs to you. Not fate, not destiny, but solely in your hands. Not to who you've been in the past or who you'd like to be, but to you right now, in this very moment. Cal spent the whole novel punishing himself for being his mother's son, for carrying darkness he didn't choose. And his dying father looked at him and basically said, "That's not the point. The point is what you do with the choice right now." And there's also another quote that really stuck with me, not from that scene, but from a different part of the book. And it's by a character named Lee. And he says, "And now you don't have to be perfect, you can be good." I've read that sentence probably 20 times because I think perfectionism is something I've hid behind for most of my life. I kind of gaslit myself into thinking that if the standard was so high, I never really had to try, I never really had to prove anything to anyone. You can just kind of point between the gap of where you are and where you want to be and use that as the excuse why you aren't achieving it, rather than yourself being the main reason why. And that's exactly what I did for about a year and a half. I wasn't waiting to be better, I was waiting to be ready. And in that quote, Steinbeck is basically telling us that ready isn't coming, perfect isn't coming, but good is here today. We can work with good if you're willing to stop using perfect as an excuse. And that's what starting the 75 Hard Challenge was for me. It was me finally ignoring the excuses of not being perfect and finally admitting to myself that good is okay and me starting is okay and it's good enough. Because I've been carrying this version of me, this 95 kg version who's uninterested in law and not really partaking in anything that he really enjoys, as permanent, which is just not true. This isn't me, and this is not who I want to be. And Steinbeck agrees. He spent 600 pages telling me that that's not how it works. You're not what happened to you. You're not the worst version of yourself. You're not even the best version of yourself. You are just someone who has the choice to do something right now with what you've got. So that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm currently on day 17 of 75 Hard, and I'm running, cycling, lifting weights, learning a new language, practicing guitar, because I owe it to myself to find out who I am and what I enjoy and what I'm made of when I finally stop being afraid. I've got 58 days left of this challenge, a half marathon in May, and a law degree I'm slowly trying to figure out what to do with. I don't have to have all the answers right now. I don't need to be perfect. I just need to make the choice to be good today.